tuning in to this week's episode of Keep the Change podcast. For those of you who are new to us, we are a social media company that covers sports betting, sports news, sports highlights, and we use our platform to help raise money for charities and communities. So thank you all for stopping by and listening. Your help and your views and just likes and shares and comments help generate revenue for us, which we're allowed to then go and help out others. Our Keep the Change podcast, we're going over just your basic and top sports news of the day, and we have some fun ones for you tonight. The first one I want to start off with, buddy. All right, OBJ signing with the Ravens.
Man, crazy money. Crazy money. They
What?
can't pay Lamar, but they're going to pay OBJ off of 2 fresh ACL tears.
So
15
what's?
million guaranteed up to, what was it, 18 or 19 million potential.
Yep,
That's insane.
he's got to make some of his Bitcoin back. So,
Whew.
yeah, what's your thoughts on that one, man?
I'm glad they wasted the money. I just don't think that at this point in his career, he's not worth that. He hasn't proven that he can stay healthy in the last, 4 years, 5 years. He hasn't played a full season or close to it even. OBJ, when he's healthy, when he's full 100%, great player. But I think this just might be his last money grab in the NFL.
Yeah, so you have good information on OBJ because he was a former Brown. I mean, you saw the whole entire debacle that happened there in Cleveland, because I know that was very ugly exit.
Yeah.
So I know you have that kind of, but like this kind of screams like that a little bit still. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I know, yeah, he went to, the Rams, end up winning the Super Bowl, but like you said, he's coming off a really bad injury. And he's also getting up there in age. That's a lot of money to be throwing at something like that, especially when you're going through this whole entire thing now with Lamar, and you have to ask yourself, are they even going to go with Lamar now? Is this their exit strategy for them, just showing once again that Lamar isn't their guy?
Man, I feel like it because $15 million a year guaranteed for a, what is he, 30-year-old now receiver that I just don't get it. The Ravens have Lamar, who he's their guy. They have to find a way to keep him, and they're not. I don't think this does anything to help them.
It doesn't give them
This is
any more
almost a
money.
slap in the face. The fact that they're saying, "Hey, we'll pay OBJ this guaranteed money, but you as our franchise quarterback, nah, we don't trust you, or we don't think you're worth it."
I mean, I think it entices Lamar to stay in terms of you're getting him a weapon, but again, he's not complaining that the Ravens aren't getting them weapons. He's complaining that they're
He
not
wants
guaranteed.
paid.
And it's not he just wants to be guaranteed money, And I think
Yeah.
so many quarterbacks in this league are getting that. Like that's all this is really, from what this whole entire saga has gone through, is what I've taken away from it all, is that he just wants guaranteed money. And he wants it to be something that's respectful to what he's done for that organization.
Yeah. He just wants to be paid a fair amount to his peers that are comparable.
And let's be real. You take away Lamar Jackson, what are the Ravens this past, how many seasons I should be fact checked.
2018 drafted.
So since 2018, the Ravens, what do the Ravens do in these last,
They've had
5 years?
a good defense, but Lamar has been their offense
For the last 5 years. Former
Yeah.
MVP. I mean, again, you take Lamar out of that equation, the Ravens are bottom of the league there, buddy.
Yeah.
Especially when, like, you had the Browns were making a good run those couple of years. The Steelers have always been tough. The Bengals were definitely not doing very well at all those seasons, but we had our own issues. But you take away Lamar, it looks like Bengals Ravens at the bottom of the barrel there, and then you got Browns Steelers. So it's like Lamar has kept you relevant. He's just looking for money guaranteed at that point. But interesting. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. Once again, Ravens just you know who's to blame? The Browns. The Browns are to, and once again, this somehow involves the Browns because the Browns formally released OBJ. So
Yeah,
once again, the Browns have somehow found their way into creating chaos in the AFC
every
North.
headline
If you can't beat them on the field with your physicality,
infiltrate.
infiltrate them and poison them from inside. Oh my gosh. All right. Next up, that's all the NFL news I got. There's really nothing else going on besides
No,
drafts coming up. I know there's going to be there's some just craziness that's going on with these, who's going to really end up with the first pick. I think Anthony Richardson has definitely climbed his way up to the top into considerations, but I still don't see how you don't go with Bryce Young. But that's not why I guess that's not why we are owners of NFL teams. So
what about my boy CJ?
and CJ Stroud, right? So that's why I mean
I
those
think
two.
CJ and Bryce are very comparable talent levels,
Yep.
but one has Kyler Murray's frame and the other one's 6'3".
Yeah. So you got I
I
think
didn't realize until as of recent, like in all this draft stuff, how small exactly Bryce Young is.
yeah, and I think that Kyler has shown that it, and even like Russell Westbrook too, right? Like and even like Baker,
Yeah,
like short quarterbacks historically don't have a lot of success because they have to throw over taller linemen in the NFL.
yeah.
That's just physics.
Bunch of
Um,
6'8" tackles out here nowadays.
yeah, but we'll see how it all folds out. But I can't wait for that show. We got to set that up. You got to get
Oh
your
yeah.
people over at L Camps to let us do
Already
our.
talked to Axel last night. We're good to go.
All right. See, so
We'll be
if
hosting
you,
a draft party at El Campesinos in Marion, Ohio.
it's officially announced, baby. See us there. Come if you come stop by, say hi. I'll get you a drink on me. Would love to have you on the show too. We'll be live streaming from there. So that's good. Look at that. Success, baby. Look at that.
Yep.
That's
Got
awesome.
it
Let's
on.
go. L camps, baby. I can't wait. I can't wait to have a nice fat margarita and some chips and salsa there. All right. So moving on to the Masters. What a I feel like it started off so great and then um I
And
it
through.
it just like towards the end, I think a lot of it's coming out right now, but Cantley's slow play, I really do believe affected everyone, even the people he was playing with, Hovland, and the fact that Rahm and Brooks, you could tell it definitely affected Brooks. He definitely played very not up to form. Rahm, though, he seemed to take complete advantage of it. I saw a couple shots of Rahm just
Yeah.
munching on sandwiches and just he was
He
just taking
smashed
us.
like I think they said 7 sandwiches in
Yeah,
that final round.
yeah. He was just eating and hitting the ball
Going to
and
the back.
just playing good, clean golf. But hats off to John Rahm. Again, anytime you can win the Masters, it's amazing. For him to win two majors this year, quite an epic performance on his part. And I think everyone knew going into it, Rahm had some of the best chances. But you look at that though, when it goes back to our original point of although a live guy didn't win, you have a live guy finish second and Phil Mickelson coming
Dude,
out.
Phil killed it. That shout out to Phil. Old
And
lefty through.
dude, I don't think I've ever I think the best shot of the whole final round was Phil making that final birdie putt, and you could just see
Yep.
in his fist pump like the past 2 years of just frustrations and everything that's just been he's been outcasted by golf and you could just tell it meant so much and it meant to me as a Phil fan and it was great to see it. I did put at that second I did put a live line bet at plus 2500, no, it was 25,000 plus 25,000 for him to win. I put that on there, so I was definitely hoping at that point I was like I need everyone to just do seriously bad. um but yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
at
that was my
that point
favorite moment.
I honestly thought for a second, and I picked Rahm to win it with my only. He was the only person I bet on to win it at the beginning. I almost wanted him to blow it at that point and Phil to just win it.
Yeah,
just for the storyline, to see the celebration, and like, yeah, you just felt so good for him in that
yeah,
moment.
so good, right? And again, it's just there's been so much bad things that has been going on with Phil, and for him to be able to go out there, finish that, and have that great of a final round and be within the contention and just that was my probably favorite part about the whole Masters. But yeah, hats off though to John Rahm, hats off to Brooks to be able to come back too, because I know like again through that Full Swing documentary, there was a lot of like dark side of like the dark depression moments that Brooks has been going through since his ACL surgery, and he has that famous quote about like when I was playing really well, it felt like I couldn't do anything wrong, and now I'm at the point where I'm playing so bad that I don't know if I can ever hit the ball right again. And for him to go out and take all that emotion and everything that he's been through with going to live, I thought it was a great round. And I thought, guys like Victor Hovland coming out, the guys like Sam Bennett, the amateur, playing really well. It was a good weekend for golf. It was really fun to watch, and I just wish more tournaments had that feel of the Masters, right? Like I think
Yeah.
it's so exciting to turn that on, and now I know, unless you're a super golf fan, again like myself, most people aren't tuning in to watch any more of this stuff for another year. And so I do think golf has its hands full, but this was a good step in the right direction for them to have a good weekend like this with lots of players coming out and performing well. It was big for the whole sport of golf.
We'll have to see if I saw one of guys that I was in training with in the Army, Ryan Pelican. He's from Augusta, Georgia. Saw that he was out there this weekend, so I'm gonna have to maybe reach out to him. Ryan, if you're listening, see what you can do to help hooking us up with some tickets at some point, and let us
If
enjoy the experience
if
too.
we could get to the Masters, bro, I put up that post about the concession stand. What would you get with your $10? I didn't realize how cheap concession foods are there.
Yeah,
Um,
old school, man.
but I did also notice. So they put out the numbers for their merch store. They make like, I can't even say. I think it's like $800,000 every hour is what they're making,
That's great.
or minute, maybe minute. It's crazy. It's crazy. They make like 70 million during the whole 4 days. They make like $70 million. That's nuts.
Yeah,
That in merch sales, they have, because again, you can't get any of that merch anywhere outside of the Masters. So, but yeah, what a great weekend! It was a fun weekend. Um, yeah, lots to be excited about. Lots of good performances. Congrats to John Rahm, and like I said, my favorite. Congrats to Phil Mickelson, man. Props to that man for him being able to come out and compete and almost get the job done. Um,
soon, Tiger. I
uh,
saw something that I didn't know if there's any truth to it. I haven't been able to read into it. I saw it this afternoon that someone said that one of the screws from his surgery ended up actually poking through the skin,
oh wow,
and
yeah,
that was
that's tough.
withdrawal. And if that's true, that's man, that's tough.
That's tough. And Tiger, I think Tiger did it one because he's the competitive nature in him, and he knew he wanted to get out there. But I do think you could tell very clearly, like
He was
towards the
right.
end there, it wasn't right. And I do think the weather had a lot to play into it, and the fact that he was going to have to play essentially 30, at least 20, no, 30 holes on that final
Yeah,
day in one day. And that's a lot for anyone, and especially when you're only on one leg. But he gutted it out as much as he could, man. But there's no, I don't think anyone's disappointed that he withdrew. I think the fact that we even got to see him again for what we got to see him for, um, he'll be back. I do think the way he strikes the ball, he's gonna be back. He just got to get his body right. I think
yeah.
that's what this, and that time will come back. I mean, again, if you got a guy like Fred Couples who can go out and shoot under par at however he was 72 years old, I
Mhm.
think it's very reasonable to say that Tiger Woods will be doing okay in the next couple years. All of us as fans want to see it, overnight, but this stuff takes time. I mean, again, the dude
Yeah,
was almost told he could never walk again, in and out. You know what I'm saying? So, um, hats off to Tiger there. MLB, man. All right, good first week. Good first
yeah.
week. Give me your thoughts on how baseball's playing out so far.
And I still mad about the pitch clock. I just think it's dumb. I don't care about cutting 20, 30 minutes off the game. me as a fan, I'm paying for that experience. I'm paying for that time. Now you're shortening it. So I don't see what the benefit is there to the pitch clock as a fan. I don't care. Well, I like to watch the extra 20, 30 minutes of baseball. I get excited when we go to extra innings. That's free bonus baseball. But
Yeah, right.
it was kind of interesting to watch some little spats between umpires and pitchers and batters over it. Just confusion. Everybody's still trying to get a feel for it and understand it. I
So
like the fact that the
uh,
shift has kind of been eliminated. It's You're seeing more hits. The one cool thing about the pitch clock I will give, and the not being able to throw over more than 2 times without it being a balk if you don't pick them off on the third attempt, is more runners running. You're getting more stolen bases, more attempts at least. So it adds a little bit of excitement in that way, but just let the game be.
dude, so it's so funny you brought up pitch clock. So I got to go to the Tampa Tarpons game, so spring train or minor league game. Um, we were probably like we were like 4 rows back from the dugout, so right up on there was maybe about 300 people in the stands, so it was, you could hear everything.
Packed
So
house.
you know me, as the chirper I am, I was using that pitch clock to my advantage. I was counted down because, again, I'm not a Tampa Tarpons fan, and I think they were playing the Flying Tigers, so the minor league team for the Detroit Tigers. But the guys I was with were New York fans, so I was rooting for New York. But I was 5-4. I'd be like, hey, pitcher, pitch clock's running out. Like it was.
Yeah.
I was chirping that pitch clock, bro. Oh, I'll tell you what, though, like we were kind of talking last podcast, there is nothing better than having hot dogs and a beer and some peanuts. I had some Cracker Jacks. I was just chirping at the players. And it was funny, not saying anything like derogatory, but just being like, your shoes untied. Just
Yeah. Just
that
simple
feeling,
stuff.
yeah, just to try to do whatever part you think that you're playing. But you forget how much fun baseball games are. I mean, at one point I had just a pocket full of hot dogs. It was just I was loving life. Yeah, I went back up to get my second round of hot dogs, and they're like, "Oh, the hot dog pocket guy." Yep, that's me, baby. Um, but $3 beers, hot dogs, $8 tickets to the game. You can't beat it. It was a fun time. But yeah, the pitch clock, man, it is weird to see how it works. I don't know how the pitchers are dealing. Like there is no decisions now. Like you have to pretty much know what pitches you're throwing right away. It takes all that kind of eliminating and
Yeah.
thinking out. I do think there's going to be more hits now, and that's why I think one reason our MLB formula has been so successful. I do think these hits. Well, the only thing I'm worried about the formula right now is that I'm starting to see overs being set a lot higher. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm seeing less opportunities for the formula, but I do think that adds up because I do think with the pitch clock we're going to see more hits. I think we're going to see more runs, like you said, with stolen bases, with the shifts being, illegal shifts and stuff like that. I think that was the other thing I kept calling that out a couple times. There was an illegal shift. Oh man, like,
The
oh,
players are probably thinking, man,
yeah,
who is this asshole?
yeah.
Shut up, man.
Anything I could to do my part as a fan. Um, so what else for MLB? What else for MLB? What other things are you did you notice in this first week?
Man, I'm pretty sure I said it already before once on the show, but this Cleveland team just doesn't have quit in them. They came back the other night. I was flipping back and forth between watching Rahm close it out in the Masters and watching the Indians battle out in a extra inning game that they came back 3 different times throughout that game, and they just won't give up. Came down to their last out, if I remember correctly, twice. And they just don't believe that they're going to lose any game. And yeah, we've lost some games, but every game's been fun. They play a lot of close games, and that's why I still like anytime the Guardians are either plus runs or anything below 1.5. I don't see us getting blown out in many games.
Tough one today though. Yankees. That was a
Yep,
tough
we
one.
got blown out today.
That was a
but
tough one. At
not
home
many.
too, huh?
Hey, that's all right. The over formula hit though, so I still won on
Yeah,
that.
that that's another reason why I like the overs and unders, man. I feel like it's really hard to bet money lines and pitch lines on baseball games because there's so many, right? Like, and there's so
Yeah.
many games, it's hard to tell. Um, but yeah, man, it I agree with you. It's off to a good start. I'm glad it's back. Like you said, I think there's just a different feeling in the air when you
And
get
how
when you
about the
get
Rays? I'm thinking about that. Tampa Bay has been absolutely on freaking
and I
fire.
love that they busted out the Devil Rays uniforms the other day.
Oh God, that's so sexy. I that was
Uh,
back in my day. They had
Same.
Carl Crawford, Delman Young. Like I love those Devil Rays. Back right slightly after the Fred McGriff era, the Crime Dog was there for a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah.
man, those were some of the best jerseys in baseball. Give me those, and I want some old school Expos. I want to see
Yes.
the big unit and Pedro Martinez and those baby blue old school Expos.
Those dude,
Jerseys just aren't made like they're used to.
they're really not, and I like that they're coming out with some more of the teams are doing that this year. I know like Miami, they did their old Marlins.
Retro,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
bastards beat us in the damn World Series. But
Well,
anyways,
keep it. Well, I'm glad baseball's back, keeping it rolling. It's just starting. We have so many games left. I feel like it's
well,
just
one more question: how long do you think before Cleveland's able to wear a throwback Indians uniform, or is that always going to be frowned upon?
oof. That's a good question because you got to think though, like the Chiefs are still a team, right? Like
Yeah,
the
the
Kansas City
Braves,
Chiefs, yeah, the Braves, like
Chicago Blackhawks,
yeah, I think that's such a touchy subject, but I think, it's part of the team history. They should be allowed. I think they should be allowed. I would say though,
yeah,
give it like at least 2 years. 2 years and you'll have some throwback. You'll have a throwback night and you'll be
yeah,
wearing it. And I bet you know what? Once word starts getting out that it is gonna be throwback night, I think you're gonna see one of your
sell out.
highest. Yo, yeah, 100%. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
people.
right.
There's still a lot of people. I mean, I want to support them either way, but there's a lot of people that are still buttered about it, not
Oh yeah.
happy. I'm not
There's
pumped, but
there are still a couple people that are very upset. I know. I
my
know you.
opinion
I know
doesn't matter.
you're upset.
Yeah, I got them
Um,
freaking tattooed on.
yeah, yeah. If the Bengals ever don't become the Bengals anymore, I'm screwed.
Daddy
Oh,
cuddly kitty.
yeah, right. The cuddly kitties. Um, all right. That takes us to NBA playoffs, baby. So the playing games right now, the Hawks are putting it to the Heat, and um, yeah, I the Hawks, they're a big time team. I think they're going to be a dangerous team. I just don't know if they have enough though to push them into an Eastern Conference final game. But I do think, they're a talented team. I think they have some future. Right now we're looking at the Lakers Timberwolves tied right now at 18-18. The fact that we're sitting here, and I just want to say how wrong were we about the West. With I'm pretty sure we both said that we thought the Mavs were going to be being able to get in there and they got eliminated, but now we also were like there's no way the Lakers can get in without LeBron.
And they found a way.
Yeah, what's your thoughts? If the Lakers get out of this and get out of the
And
plan, do they have a chance?
how awesome would it be to see a LeBron Lakers first new era Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Cavs in the finals? I mean, I know obviously my opinion is biased. I may have put a bet on the Cavs to win it all at plus 4,200 odds.
Hey, that's good. I like that line.
I think that they're young enough that the moment's not going to affect them. And as long as we could stay healthy, I still like the Cavs coming out of the East. And I'd love to see LeBron lead the Lakers again. I'm always going to be a LeBron fan. I got over being butthurt. a decade ago. This point, just got to really appreciate the fact of getting to see one of the greatest athletes of all time play on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, the Cavs when LeBron was there was, I mean, the whole city was, I mean, and it was good for the city,
I mean,
Akron.
just it's crazy to think about. I didn't never had season tickets. I've seen LeBron James play in person 20 plus times. Like that's awesome to say.
That's generational talent right there.
Yeah,
Um, so speaking of the Cavs, so you guys are opening up against the Knicks, and you're opening up as 6-point favorites in game one. How do you see this series playing out?
we
Knicks are a
struggle with
tough team.
it, like,
Knicks are a tough team right now.
but I feel like we match up really well with them. So I'm taking Garland over Brunson at the point. At the two, Mitchell over whoever the hell they have. I don't even care. I'm not sure. Is there three? RJ Barrett's at the two for them, correct? And then the three, Okoro, good defender. It all depends on which guy shows up offensively. Randall's got the edge a little bit on Mobley, but not a ton. Evan Mobley can go pound for pound with him. And I like Jared Allen over Mitchell Robinson. So starting five, I feel like we have the advantage at three and a half out of the five positions.
But this is out right now. What's I'm seeing right now in the injury report, you got Okoro's doubtful, Windler's doubtful, Garland's doubtful, Levert's doubtful, and Mitchell's doubtful. What's going on with that?
That must have been for the last game. So Okoro is the only one that I know of that still has injury concerns. He had sprained his ankle within the last week and a half, but I think the rest of them were just sat load management or whatever for that 82nd regular season game. We had nothing to gain or lose from it.
So they should be nice and healthy for this first game. Well, I mean, it looks like it because the injury report's not matching the spread right now, which again it has this
Yeah,
Cavs
you
up.
take all those guys out. There's no way we're favorites.
Um, so how do you see this series ending? Cavs what?
Man, I think we'll lose one.
Okay.
Lose one game in the series, but I think we're going to win it pretty well, pretty
So
easily.
5 games, right? Is that right?
Yep,
4-1,
yep,
5 games.
4-1.
Okay.
And I think that there's going to be one game where Julius Randle just goes out of his mind and drops like 50 points, hits like 10 threes, has 20 rebounds. And he's just going to have an extraordinary performance that just leads his team that one game.
Okay.
But
I
outside
like it.
of that, I just think the depth that we have, 1 through 5, 7, 8, 9, we just got a bunch of guys that want to play hard and they want to do whatever their role is on the team to help win.
All right. Cavs winning 5. You heard it here, folks. Let's keep it in the East. You got Nets 76ers. I'm seeing Philly is running away with this one.
Sweep.
The fact that the Nets are even still around right now, good for them. Way to get through the season. But I agree with you. I think if there's going to be a sweep, I see the Sixers is doing it.
Yep.
That takes us to the Hawks. They got their spot in there. They're going to be going against the Celtics. Boston's opening up as an 8-point favorite. I could potentially see another sweep here, but I could see the Celtics giving up one here, and maybe even I don't see them losing the first one, but I think their first road game. I think they lose their first road game.
I could see that as well. Um, it just depends. Jason Tatum, I don't think we're going to see the same Tatum that we were complaining about earlier in the year when we needed
It's playoff
one
Tatum.
point or one rebound in the second half, and he just
Yeah,
didn't want to do anything and walked up and down the court.
playoff Tatum's a whole different person.
Yeah. But the one thing that concerns me is I was reading about some disgruntlement in Jaylen Brown and talking about wanting out after this season. And that's never good to hear reports like that coming out right before the playoffs start.
Dude, I think a lot of this still has to do with the coach, man. I think a lot of this has to do with them and the whole entire everything that happened with them and their head coach and them
Mhm.
making the interim guy the head coach really early on in the season. I think a little bit too early, but um, again, the Celtics were a team that started off so hot, especially coming off last year's championship run, and then had such a really poor outings after the All-Star break. I don't think there's enough to worry of them not getting past the first round, but I think this does open the door to there could be some issues here as they move further and further through.
There weren't many series halfway through the season or, a third of the way into the season that I wouldn't have felt confident taking Boston in. And
Dude,
I
there
just
were
don't.
so many minus 900, minus 500 nights that I had Boston coming down as the last leg on a parlay and them losing. There's so many. I can literally I can tell you right now it was at least 6 times of them
Yeah.
blowing games that they should have easily won.
And then
But
always
it is
gotta watch out
playoff basketball.
for coming out of the East.
It is playoff basketball. Teams do start to tighten up during this time. Um, that takes us over to the West. We got Warriors King first round. Honestly, buddy, why do I feel like the Kings win
I
this?
was just getting ready to call it. That's what I was gonna say. I feel like it's gonna be the biggest upset in the first series. I love the Kings youth. I've been a De'Aaron Fox fan since he was at Kentucky. Sabonis just goes out there and just does work. And that, like, I don't know if you saw any of that story talking about all the expectations he's had his whole life with his dad being a Hall of Famer, and people always comparing him to him. Well, your dad could do this. Well, your dad would work this hard. Well, your dad would put in this many hours. And never that didn't make him crumble. He was able to he used that as fuel. And he said he's like yeah, my dad was a great one of the best basketball players to ever play, and I just took that as motivation when people said that. They're like, "Oh, well, that means you think I can be as good as him if I do that too." So I'm just going to try to put in one more rep or, put in the extra shots, and it's really panned out for him. I would like to see be a cool story of Sacramento not making the playoffs in what, 20 years.
They got a shot, man. The Warriors have had another thing
The
where me
West
and
is weak.
you go back to our podcast, like episode 2 when we were talking about this and saying we don't know if the Warriors can get beat. They're another one had a really bad post All-Star break, and the Kings have been hot. And I do feel like with basketball, same we talked about in March Madness, is the teams that get hot at the end. Even most professional sports, the teams that finish seasons and get hot at the end, it's that February, March basketball starts to show a lot about who you're going to be as a playoff team. I see the Kings as really. I don't know if I don't. I think it goes 7 games, but I think I see the Kings winning this one, man. Um, Staying in the West, a couple games still have to be decided after some playing games. So the Bucks will be decided. I see the Bucks as being really strong and continuing. They get through round one. I don't care who they play. You got Jokic over with the Nuggets. I think they get it done. Grizzlies to me have been just flooded with controversy. I don't know what they're gonna do, but somehow have continued to at least be a dominant team, even though that they've had everything.
Mhm.
But the most exciting talk about right now, and we got a little bit of time left, so let's end on this: the Clippers, man, and Russell Westbrook
West
finding
cooking.
finding a way to still get his team into the playoffs,
Hey,
going against a tough team in the Suns. Heavy favorites on the Suns, but why do I feel like Russell Westbrook's gonna will his way into at least the second round here?
was that picture real? I didn't watch the game live. Was he really flipping LeBron off running back down
I
the court?
saw that too. I don't know. It could have been photoshopped. Very well could have been. We are living in that century.
Yeah.
But if it
But man,
wasn't, that's badass.
Brody gives no fucks.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
man, I think I see the Clippers. I think I'm feeling the Clippers upset on this one.
yeah, the Clippers have enough talent. They could make a run in the West. If they can keep everybody healthy, get everybody firing on all cylinders at the same time, Westbrook, Kawhi, and PG-13, that's a lot of star power.
They have a real shot, man. They have a real shot. Let's just say I wouldn't be surprised if they get it done.
Yeah.
And it would just be so more awesome if he could get it done against KD, because that would be
That would be clutch. That would be so
revenge. Revenge is the best cold dish. Awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We can't wait to talk about how basketball plays out next week on our podcast. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for watching and all your support. Please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and as always, keep the change.
See you, everybody.